Unique developments are unfolding in a small rural hamlet named Vanwyksdorp, situated in the Klein Karoo region of the Western Cape of South Africa. Many of the population of less than 800 people, mostly farm labourers, are dependent on seasonal employment for apricot picking in December and olive picking between April and June. There is a small core of established farmers and a few new settlers who are largely retired or living a subsistence life, many of whom practice various forms of arts and crafts. The hamlet is poor by any standards, but there is a spirit of camaraderie that binds the residents in a unique way. A not-for-profit company, the Vanwyksdorp Development Institute, a Level 1 Black Economic Empowerment contributor, has been established to facilitate socio-economic upliftment of poor rural communities of the village and the surrounding districts. In line with 5 strategic objectives that the board has registered, Vanwyksdorp Institute will establish a learning campus that provides the environment and opportunity for people to learn skills and to incubate entrepreneurial activities. The aim is to establish a physical presence in Vanwyksdorp, initially primarily for the benefit of the residents of the town and its immediate surrounds. The next phase will be to extend the service capacity to communities in the Klein Karoo, Calitzdorp Biosphere Reserve and further afield. A substantial portion of land has been donated in Vanwyksdorp and a site development plan for infrastructure has been prepared. There are essentially 5 parts to the proposed campus. The first is community fruit trees and an allotment of vegetable gardens, environmental centre, skills workshops, sports field and sports centre, and an early childhood development centre. We see the sports centre with its dedicated parking area and separate entrance, which is located to facilitate integration with the town and key partner institutions and the community. All building will be eco and environmentally friendly. Best use will be made of natural light, solar power, natural building materials, insulation, etc. Water will be conserved and grey water used on campus, for example the sports fields. Let's take a look at the planned facilities. The land capital has already been donated and has been registered in the name of the company and is therefore an asset of the Vanwyksdorp Development Institute. The Calitzdorp Biosphere Reserve has sought to partner with the VDI as a training centre for GCBR environmental initiatives. GCBR has established a relationship with an overseas donor that has invested in part of the VDI infrastructure. So a start will be made on the site and infrastructure in the first half of 2018. Other capital will be raised through further submissions to potentially interested philanthropists. Donations and voluntary contributions will primarily be sought for capital, as will crowdfunding. All runoff and grey water will be captured at the lowest point of the site in an artificial wetland. This is adjacent to the existing town sewage plant. The aim is to reuse any excess water from the system for vegetable gardens. The aim is to make the environment an attraction as well as functional. So, for example, to grow vines on a pergola over a pedestrian way, and to make the allotment vegetable gardens attractive with an adequate store for implements and for handling the produce. Any excess produce will be procured by one of the skills workshops and processed for sale. The entrance will be a feature with indigenous plants, visitors parking and suitable access for disabled people. The breathtaking south-facing views from the entrance towards the Langeberg Mountains over the gardens will be capitalised on with larger windows. Access to the skills workshops will be by separate road on the east boundary. The skills workshops will target woodwork, metalwork, electrical installations, plumbing and irrigation, food processing, garment manufacture and mechanics. Each workshop will have a courtyard for managing deliveries and dispatches. The plan is to fund the ongoing operational costs through a variety of recovery methods from operations and services. This includes charging fees for students where possible, selling the services of students and trainees, selling products made by trainees, obtaining sponsorships from suppliers whose products are promoted, for example paint, welding rods, machinery, pipes, etc. Each project may need to be financed in a different way and there may be a need for some cross-subsidization. The entrance area is designed to link the skills workshops with the environmental centre. Here, goods that are manufactured and processed in the workshops, plus any material that results from environmental projects, can be displayed for sale to the public. The reception will serve an administrative function plus a tourism and hospitality function for every visitor to the campus. Behind reception is a computer center for administration and processing student work, but which can also be used for teaching computer skills. The entrance area will be linked to the skills workshop by walkways, both for those working in the workshop and for visitors to view the workshop. The area is designed to be encircled with open areas and garden space where larger products can be displayed and visitors and students can relax between seminars and classes. It is anticipated that the Vanwyksdorp Institute will have a very small full-time staff, possibly only 2 people in phase 1, for instance a manager and caretaker. The aim is to engage part-time staff and community participants in programs to do much of the work. Trainers will be sourced wherever possible and will need to be paid, plus their travel, accommodation and subsistence paid for. The Vanwyksdorp Institute Biodiversity Exhibition Centre works with the GCBR to deliver training on environmental matters. What is so important about this is that the Calitzdorp Cluster Biosphere Reserve was designated by UNESCO as South Africa's 7th Biosphere Reserve in June 2015. World Heritage Sites are areas recognized as being of outstanding universal value and are proclaimed in terms of World Heritage Convention Act of 1999. The GCBR is globally unique as it is the only area in the world where 3 recognized biodiversity hotspots, the fynbos, succulent karoo, and Maputoland, Tongaland, Albany hotspots converge. The entire domain falls within the Cape Floristic region, the smallest but one of the richest of the 6 floral kingdoms in the world. The Biosphere Reserve is rich in endemic plant species, with at least 670 of the somewhat 5,000 plant species endemic to the biosphere. Even the arid inland portion of the Biosphere Reserve is rich in endemic species, with at least 400 of the 3,200 plant species restricted to the Biosphere Reserve. The biosphere also plays an important function to conserve threatened larger mammals and endemic invertebrate species. Of critical importance to marine biodiversity along the local coastline is the role of estuaries to act as nurseries for marine species. Here, an important function of the Biosphere Reserve is to maintain the flow of fresh water from the uplands into the estuaries, to retain the function of these estuaries as nurseries for important commercial marine species and marine biodiversity. This part of the campus provides the display area for all environmental work, plus an office and a viewing deck to the south. From the reception to the north, and nestled between the building and the hillock to the west, is an amphitheatre that follows the contours of the terrain. This amphitheatre offers a space for lectures to large groups and relaxing space for students and workers and skills workshops. But it also provides a space for other community activities such as concerts, reel dancing and other youth club activities. In the execution of the project, every effort will be made to soften this space, to use local building materials and provide shade. Elements such as planter boxes and pots will allow a wide variety of indigenous plants to be brought in and grown for display and teaching purposes. Students will assist with establishment and maintenance of these gardens and may undertake projects such as scented garden to highlight the extremely fragrant Karoo scrubbery. The hillock to the west of the campus will be developed as a bioreserve for visitors to walk on to observe the indigenous plants. As far as possible, this hill will be integrated with the campus to facilitate movement in all spaces. North of the amphitheatre, teaching spaces are planned. The idea is to provide 2 separate buildings which can be flexibly configured to several smaller tutorial spaces or larger classrooms. These classrooms can also be used after hours to provide school learners and anyone undertaking correspondence studies with suitable learning space, especially in the evenings. Here too, the aim will be to use indigenous plants to soften and cool the buildings. The final design of these buildings will provide cooling elements such as verandas and pergolas, as well as planter boxes and pots, and use will be made of north-facing roof space to capitalize on photovoltaic solar power. A wide range of courses are envisaged, such as the free flow from the teaching space to the amphitheatre will make practical demonstrations and plant identification easy, and the access from the amphitheatre to the hillock walkway is intended to encourage students and visitors to enjoy the plant diversity to be seen. The north gate can be used to enhance security, such as during sports events, and facilitate movement of goods and people. The terrain requires a cut and fill, but is large enough for a full-size athletics track, a sports centre and adequate space for parking for sports events. The sports complex is envisaged with adequate space for crowd movement when there are events, plus a grandstand built over home team and visitors' change rooms. The idea is to provide the community with a safe multi-sport space, offer facilities for courses to train coaches and referees in many sports disciplines, and to offer athletes from outside private training camp facilities. There will be a small clubhouse and gym, plus the necessary sports equipment and field maintenance storerooms. Sports activities will be revenue-generating opportunities to pay for the maintenance of the facilities. Residential accommodation for visitors, staff, students, athletes and anyone else using the campus will be in the already available private guest accommodation until it becomes unavoidable to erect a form of dedicated lodgings. Water is a scarce commodity in Vanwyksdorp. It is therefore planned that the surfaces be artificial, astroturf and tartan. While these require large capital investment, it is more viable than grass in the longer term. The existing sports facilities in town comprise a grass rugby field and a derelict concrete tennis court, potentially usable for netball. The aim will be to provide facilities for male and female sports, for the young and old, and to encourage family sports days. The vacant earth between Green Hills and the Vanwyksdorp Institute campus will be developed into an early childhood development centre. The existing Oasis Community Centre provides a creche facility but is not suitable for older toddlers. The aim will be to provide a safe space for promoting health, nutrition, education, psychosocial and additional environmental factors within the context of the family and community, for the children of everyone who uses the campus. This facility will provide outdoor and indoor play spaces with appropriate stimulating apparatus and educational toys. Architecturally, the infrastructure will also be softened with safe plants and shade elements. And so, as we depart from our tour of the envisioned Vanwyksdorp Development Institute campus, we thank you for your interest and support for our vision for a healthy, employable youth with better opportunities for their lives.